today I have a couple of special guests joining me to talk a little bit about the Navi language. So, special guests, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sully.
And I'm Tirea Aean.
And you guys have the great privilege of being the first returnees to the show.
Oh, wow.
I know, very
Feel honored.
exciting. And with you guys are here, you folks are here to talk all about not only the Navi language, but we're going to be doing a little ranking of how everyone's pronunciation in Avatar is. This comes with one big caveat: is that we're not doing this to offend anyone. This is all in good faith. We just want to have a good laugh about it. You are probably able to explain it better than I am in terms of like what our tier system is here, right?
Yes. So we're going based off of the NetV proficiency, like kind of the way we talk about NetV proficiency that Paul has put forward. Maybe we could even link the blog post if you'd be willing to.
Absolutely.
But he has this whole post that goes through and talks about how to ask somebody, how good is your NetV? And it has to do with like physical levels. So like a high level, a mid level, a low level, and then we added the top one and the bottom one as kind of a joke, but it's fun, all in good fun.
So we are going in movie order, which means we are going to start with Norm Spellman.
I have very strong opinions about Norm, actually. So we're starting off the gate strong. I think that Norm does a fantastic job in the little Natvi that he speaks in the movie, and I really would have liked to see him speak more because of that. His pronunciation is really good. One note that I made as we were listening through is I heard Naivulme instead of Nivulme, but that's such a minor thing. Everything else sounded really good. The vowels were good. The consonants sounded good. The tapped R sounded good. So I'm very much think he did a good job, especially because Norm is like a student of NatV. He's not a native NatV speaker. He studied it for a long time, but I think he holds up very, very well.
Yeah, I could probably believe that like Norm was studying Navi for about 5 years. No one is ever flawless in any language all the time, even natives. So
Yes.
yeah, but like that was damn good, I think, actually. Like he only got like 2 lines, but it was really good.
What are we thinking for his ranking? Because I want to make a case for I know it's right out the gate, but I want to make a case for Awa actually.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty AWA tier. He only got like 2 lines, but they were pretty AWA tier.
They're really good though.
And in that same conversation, he is speaking with Dr. Grace Augustine. I
think so. Funny enough, I also have strong opinions about her, but I think that at the beginning she starts off very strong. She starts off pretty good, but I think it just kind of, for some reason, Grace's NatV seems to kind of deteriorate as we get further into the film, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I've noticed as well. I mean, it starts off like about as strong as Norm's, and then maybe it's just because like it like I don't know, but like it's just over time that's just what happened. I don't know.
Especially her speaking to the children. That scene just like I don't know why, but it just, to me, hearing her speak like that, it almost sounds like Simlish to me for some reason. I don't know why Grace would be speaking like this as a non-native speaker, but also as a teacher. I would have thought she would have picked up more from being around native NatV speakers so much. Because the characters have various reasons that they would speak NatV well or speak NatV not as well. So I feel like she isn't a NatV teacher, so that probably is points on her record, but she is like, she spent time being immersed in the NatV tribe, which that kind of dings her a little bit in her NatV skill for me.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think that only after a long while did she finally get let back in, and that's around the time
True.
that
Yeah.
Like, because I guess it could only go up from there. Because if it's been a while since she had a chance to speak the language with anybody,
she could be rusty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd place her either Amye or Demye. What are we thinking?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't think she goes quite as far as down to Ska.
Probably not like, I don't know.
How about we go for mid-level?
Okay, yeah, we'll go with that for now.
All right. Now on to our first native Navi speaker, Natori.
My way, not via. My way.
Yes. I think that she was very good. A lot of the time, one thing I did notice a pattern with her is that a lot of times it seemed like her versus were ambiguous. Like she would flip out. Usually, she would flip out an instead. She would say instead of and that was just kind of an interesting little nit that I noticed that seemed kind of weirdly consistent over the course of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like a little bit weird to like say "ka" instead of "ka." Yeah, so for like, I love Natori. Everybody loves Natori. Like,
Yeah, I think she did well. I would say she did well. But for some reason I wasn't as impressed with her as Norm, but I was impressed with her for sure.
yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Because like,
Maybe because Norm isn't a native Navi speaker, and she is.
yeah, I think that her sounds a little bit different than say Moat's.
Yes. Oh, I do want to mention, just as kind of like an overall thing, I noticed that for some of the speakers that were speaking for a long time, it looked like it sounded like their pronunciation got a bit looser as the like lines progressed if they were speaking like an entire paragraph. So it's just kind of a weird, interesting thing that I kind of picked up on listening to things back to back. Did either of you notice that as well?
Like, so you're saying the shorter the line, the better it is?
Yeah, like the longer lines, I'm saying that, and also the longer lines, as they progressed towards the end, things got a bit choppier. Natori did a really good job of pretty much keeping the quality up, or the not quality. I think the word I'm looking for is maybe diction is the word that I'm thinking of. Like she sounded very like crisp and clear throughout her longer lines because she did have some decently long lines.
Yeah, and like overall, like it was pretty good and accurate throughout. Like there wasn't like any kind of shift in like accuracy to the standard of like how the sounds are defined or anything like that.
Yeah, I think Natori is very good, and I think that checks out for her character, but I do think she's quite good.
Yeah, and consistent, I guess is what I'm
Consistent.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
Cool.
say maybe Kylia. What do we think?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it screams sort of high level to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
high level, but not
easily.
like above and beyond for being a native speaker. So Day, yeah.
Yeah, Today is a fun character.
I thought ultimately he sounded pretty good. I also noticed the versus thing with him.
Yeah, like I don't know if some of this is like low key accent stuff or I don't know.
I thought ultimately he sounded pretty good, especially in the shorter clips. I think he sounded very good. What do you guys think about the idea of putting him in between Natori and Grace? Because I don't think he's quite at Natori's level, but I also don't think he's at Grace's level. I think that maybe,
Yeah, if such a thing could be done,
well, I'm
Oh,
thinking
we
maybe bump her down and
we
then put
can
him.
easily put like side by side, and then it's based on like who's closest to the left.
yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Pois we're rätt. Ngal pelun malunga fitting.
A Tukan.
A to Khan. There we
There
go.
you go. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, what's our thoughts there?
Khan is interesting. I think he has like this really unique sound that like nobody sounds like him and he sounds like nobody else. All in all, I think he has a more relaxed style, I guess.
Definitely.
Because there's some parts where like I remember like when I was first like learning the movie lines, I was like, wait, what did he say?
Yeah, it's hard. I find it kind of hard to understand him, honestly.
Yeah, after like really getting used to him a lot and just really repeating it through, listening to it a lot, looking at like the text of the line that he's saying, like it makes sense and you kind of get a feel for it so that, next time you hear him it makes sense.
The thing that sticks out for me with him is the first thing I think of that sticks out is the say instead of saying nah, say, well, this isn't the word itself, but instead of using the ng sound, he pronounces the g.
Instead
of saying, like,
yeah.
for example, ngaru, he says something like ngaru.
Yeah, that's like the first thing that I remember, because it was like, I was like, oh wait, so we have ng in this language, but like that's not nga, that's nga nga nga, like thing or sing.
Yeah.
Um, but not like finger. So like I did kind of pick up on that.
Or singer, if you are of the people who do not pronounce the g in singer, because there are people who say singer.
Yeah.
So this feels like you're leaning towards a lower level here.
I think so, honestly, and I think that part of it is just because he's a native Navi speaker and also like leader of the clan. I just feel like he has more reason to be kind of towards the standard. I feel like it'd be a bit mean to call him a ska, but yeah, I'm good with Tirea.
Yeah.
I really picked up on what you said though, that his voice and the way he speaks is totally different from every single other character. And I found that so interesting. And I wonder as well, like you said, if that is just, he's in charge. Maybe that's just the way he rolls. That's just the way he wants to be.
Yeah, maybe like that's his authority showing through of like, this is the way I talk. You just gotta get used to it.
You'll learn the way I speak.
Yeah, right. You learn the way I speak. I don't learn the way you speak.
Forget the Wong Ti well stiff tau.
Moat has such a unique quality to her. And I feel like she plays up the dramatics in ways that can impact her like accuracy, but not so much to the extent of it sounding as strange as I find Aetherpound to sound sometimes.
Yeah, I love Moat.
Because her ear for the dramatics and ear for the performance of it all, like, and I mean in character, like she just seems to have this kind of presence to her that is really different from a lot of the other characters.
Yeah. Like there's like a certain, almost like, is regalness even a word? Probably not.
Regality, I think.
Regality, yeah. There's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it's almost like slightly majestic somehow, and I do see like the dramatic parts here and there. Like just even when she makes this entrance, like descending the tree into like that main area. And it's also really fun that, like, I didn't know what to think about this at first, but it kind of makes an ounce of sense that, like, when I guess maybe it's for exaggeration's sake, but whenever, like, a lot of the time, but not every time, she'll take what should be ra, like a single tapped r, and make it a full-on trill, like r. So she was like saswirati lonu, and then
but it still is really understandable because of that, and I have an appreciation for that.
They are basically the most related sounds that are different sounds that I can think of. Yeah, so I mean, it's cool. Maybe that's just a thing. It hasn't really been really officially recognized anywhere, but I picked up on that that little bit that she seems to do. If anything, Natori had the opposite effect, where she didn't really say very much, if at all.
So where are we thinking for Moat?
Good question.
At least Kylia.
So I'm thinking maybe either low Kylia or high Kamye, like very high Kamye. But I'm thinking maybe like, and by low I mean I would put her after Natori.
That sounds about right. Like I was gonna say Kylia makes a lot of sense.
Kylia does make sense. Because the things, most of it is to standard, but the things that aren't to standard seem to be very much like it seems to vibe with her character really well. And I appreciate that.
So we get on to probably the most interesting one, which I just been thinking about as we've been going through, which is Jake Sully.
The language is a pain, but I figure it's like field stripping a weapon, just repetition.
Naughty.
Yes, yeah.
Now, it's interesting with Jake because obviously he's the one character who is learning the language throughout the movie.
I want to have a nod to his improvement because I think he does improve.
Yeah, like I did appreciate that it like
He starts out really strong with like the first kill prayer, but then at the end it kind of starts to fall apart a little bit. And I think the thing that clued me in first was that like he says instead of Tirea, it sounds like he says te well. Like at the beginning I can completely tell what he's saying, and then at the end I'm kind of like struggling a bit.
yeah, because well, I thought it was more like when Jake did his first kill, it was impossible to understand what he was saying. And then when he was at Tsute's deathbed, it made a lot more sense. I mean, that
I
wasn't the
mean,
exact same line, but it was a similar enough line.
similar concept, and
Yeah.
I don't think it starts out unrecognizable. I think that it is mostly good, and then it falls apart right at the end, like towards the end.
Yeah, I guess it's another example of one of those longer lines that it's like, oh man, how does the rest of this go? Um, but it makes sense because he's learning the language, and it's like, I don't know, it's a
It
lot to
does.
take in. It's a lot to
It
memorize for someone who's like new to this
it
stuff.
fits with his character a bit, with like having being a learner and improving over time.
I think that kind of does fit in, and yeah, it's not just learning the language; it's learning the entire culture as well.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Yeah.
and a whole new body. Like that's a big lot to take on.
Well, plus, if I remember right, the entire film takes place in about 3 months' time or so,
Yes.
Hmm.
like excluding the space travel. But like, um, after they land, it's about 3 months of time. So I mean, I mean, it's always gonna vary per person, like rates of language acquisition, language learning. But like, yeah, I mean, someone who's coming at this completely fresh versus like a native speaker, or someone who's been on the moon for like 5 6 years or whatever, he has like the most reason to be at the lowest level
Yeah, I agree.
theoretically.
Yeah. I would say I'm not sure between I'm thinking right off the bat maybe low Amye like behind Grace or above Timye or high Timye above Etugan. What do we think?
You think he's better than Eitokan?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's
Because he's got
hilarious.
more reason to have mistakes, so I kind of like feel like I give him a little bit more grace on that. Etukan is unique, but he's also sometimes to me a bit incomprehensible, and that doesn't completely make sense to me from a native Nati speaker.
Okay, okay, I
So
see.
that's my argument.
Okay, yeah, Dimya makes sense. Although, like, I thought for sure somebody was gonna be like, "Skeh."
Because yeah, if anyone, I feel like maybe Jake could be Ska, but he also would have he's got more leeway in my mind. What do we think? I'm
Yeah,
not opposed to Ska.
I guess just because like there was improvement over the
Yes.
course of the 3 months, but like if it had not really changed at all, I would be like, "Skeh."
Yes.
I'm actually
Yeah,
curious to see how he does in the sequels in
I
the
was
movie.
just thinking that in terms of
Same.
like coming back to this list
Oh my
post
goodness.
Way of
Oh,
Water, we're gonna have a whole new section of characters to add, and also we might
yes.
have some changes to make to who's already on here.
Yes, yes, yes. We'll definitely have to
Oh
revisit
yeah.
this.
This will be
The
amazing.
the pressure
Yes.
is going to be on for Jake Sully, who now
Yeah.
has been on Pandora for what, almost 20 years, if I were
Right.
to
Yeah.
guess. I don't know.
Yeah. We're
Uh,
gonna. It's yeah. High pressure on him. He's got to be good, or we're gonna put him in this guy.
This is a hey, you need to do better, Jake. Come on.
Yeah.
This is a
Leaving
call
his
to
way.
action. We don't want to see you drop.
Yes. Good. But we
Uh,
will if we have to.
yes, exactly.
Uh,
We gotta be strict teachers, sometimes.
yes. Yes. Yes.
Which now
sometimes.
brings us on to some out of film works, which I wanted to bring up mostly because, well, the first one of which is Dr. Ogden,
Sivako, rise to the challenge.
which is where I got the name of the show from, Sivako. So let's what's the opinions here?
I feel like her pronunciation of so just skip to her saying Sivako. I think that she puts the stress at the end, but the pronunciation of the word itself is pretty good. So that's like a small. I feel like that's a small nit, really.
Yeah, I mean, since it is two words, like the Siva was good, the Ko was good. I mean,
She just doesn't it kind of sound like Sivako
I
from
mean,
her?
could it be a thing that you could say Siva Ko?
We just don't
Like,
know yet. And I would err on the side of Sivako to go with the like kind of original phrase.
I guess it depends on how important the delivery of Ko is. Well, Ko is mostly like a particle to like solicit agreement or something. Like, let's do it. You encouragement, or it's a wide variety of things.
Her pronunciation of Natvi sounded pretty good, but again, a interesting stress thing. I think I noticed she kind of said Natvi, but she seemed to get the glottal stop fairly well, which I was impressed by.
Yeah, most people don't. Like, a lot of people use like the Colonel Quaritch pronunciation. We have an
Yeah,
indigenous population of humanoids called the Navi.
yeah, a lot of people say Navi and
Yeah,
don't even do the glottal stop. So I was impressed by that.
yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, I
Cool.
guess, I mean, another thing is when you're speaking English and you're importing Na'vi words, you can like tend to like Englishify the Na'vi words to fit into English more. I noticed that like that's just a thing people do
Yeah.
in the English speaking world.
Which makes, yeah. So I think that my inclination is probably low mid, like after Grace. Or, what do you think? Is that too cruel?
I think that fits with Grace as well, because the in terms of like they're very similar in terms of their character, that they're both researchers, and in that sense their understanding of language would be very similar as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that sounds good.
Question
Yeah.
is, would you put Ogden or Grace higher?
Well, the only thing is Ogden doesn't speak hardly any Natfi.
It's true.
I
It's
think
like
it's
4
cool.
words.
I know, right? Yeah. So I think this is good. I think we can give Grace more credit for that, for having more, but
Yeah.
I think they're of similar quality.
Yeah. And
Okay.
this brings us on to perhaps the most interesting one, and that is the shaman from Navi River Journey. And I think this one's the most interesting because this one is in song form.
Yeah. So I give some leeway for song form for sure. And I think it ultimately sounded quite good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of her. She's like spectacular. In general, just fascinating. And the song is good too. It's pretty catchy.
It is. I
It
have
was
a really
like
bad habit of singing it every so
yeah,
often.
like especially the Maewa part is so catchy. Like probably most people only know those 2 words from the song, but like
I'd place her pretty high up. I think she did a good job. It makes sense because she's a Natvi shaman, but it also wasn't, I think that she spoke well for her part with that background.
yeah, she kind of reminds me a lot of Moat, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we just put her behind Moat.
Yeah.
Cool. That seems to fit perfectly for me as well. So this is our current tier list. As we said, I think this is a great chance for us to come back to this in the future, post The Way of Water, and maybe even post every other movie of the series as well, to see how people improve. Unfortunately, a few of our friends here are not going to be able to move position because they have sadly passed on, which means they will be stuck in their tier. But we could still see the likes of Jake Sully move up. Norm, you never know. He might get real bad at Navi.
Yeah, who knows? I hope not, but we'll see.
Yeah, if you have a different opinion, please do let us know in the comments. I'm very curious to see what others think, and whether we're being way too harsh on Jake Sully.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. Yeah, speak to you all soon.
Yeah.
Kievame.